Yo, is this one too loud? Let's see. All right. Once we get like 5 people on, as always, I'm gonna just start talking. This is gonna be fun. If you in here, if something's too loud or you can't hear nothing, like let me know. So that way we can try to take care of it before I start. Yeah, this joint is wild. What I'm looking at right now. Okay. All right. Let me see. Dang. Maybe less than four. Maybe less than four. I feel like the volume is good. It's not too loud. Mm. So yeah, if you're in here, definitely say what's up. So I know you at least stop by. You feel me? Let me know if you can hear me or not. Hopefully this is good. Hopefully, hopefully this thing is working, like the mic, because I have no idea if it's working or not right now. It sounds like I can hear myself, but I don't know. So anyway, hope everybody's doing okay. I'm pretty much just chilling, waiting for some people to get on, some people to comment something. Let's see. Dang, bro. Musician Sabbath Mondays. This is gonna be fun. This is also gonna be kind of challenging because I'm like the results person. Like I want to like see that I have results in something. So building something is like kind of new to me. This is probably the first time where I have to like actually build something and like pretty much just start it, like, and not wait for the perfect timing or wait for the perfect situation. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully whoever is here can hear me. I just got the wildest couple comments on the StreamYard or wherever it is from. Oh, from YouTube. Bro, people are weird. Let me see. So yeah, nobody's in here right now. I'm just gonna start talking. So pretty much, welcome to Musicians Sabbath Mondays. Now, this is not really just a musician's stream per se, but I got it from some homies of mine's, R.I.P. Darrell Palmer. He actually used to always use that phrase because, like, on Mondays, that'll be like the chill day for like the church musician, the person that works in like the music ministry. Like Mondays, they were like you not thinking about songs for the next Sunday. Like you're literally just kind of like you're chilling. Like you're literally resting until the next like rehearsal or something, pretty much. So that's pretty much what that is, and it's really a platform for talking about communities, different communities, and what's affected by it, and what can it do for the person who may not necessarily really be trusting with communities. So I'm not gonna hope, but I know this is gonna like help somebody. So I'm ready to really like dig into this. I don't have no viewers yet, but I'm just gonna keep talking. Um, yeah, like this is gonna be fun because I definitely have a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm really initially quiet. I pretty much said that in the stream from last time. Where I'm pretty much like a chill person. I'm quiet. I really don't say much unless you ask me. My hat looks crazy. My hat looks like it's like drunk. But yeah, Musician Sabbath Mondays. Like we just a platform, a time where you just kind of chill. Hold on. You just talk. Just be transparent about just life in regards to like community and again just when it comes to interacting with other humans. Like I feel like that's like a thing where people are like easily worn out with people. Like we don't have no patience. We don't have no like, especially because of experiences. We really don't want to have to deal with too many people outside of the same three people that we probably talk to on a regular. So yeah, like this is gonna be a fun thing. I'm excited. Got a lot to talk about. I don't really have any like church stories right now. I think I'm gonna get into like some commentary because I definitely seen that video of the co-pastor or whatever. The co-pastor pretty much like openly rebuking the one girl that's on the praise team. Like that's crazy. Like I definitely want to talk about that. Definitely leave commentary on that because that was wild. Like I feel like a lot of times, especially I'm talking about from the church perspective, because I feel like a lot of times people will use like church jargon, church language to like to be motivation or to try to enable themselves to say stuff that really ain't come from no spiritual place, bro. Like it ain't come from no place in the Bible. It's pretty much what they was holding on to and what they've been wanting to say, but they just figured, because of who they are or because of them having a microphone or because of their age or like I said, because of their status in the church, they may try to pass it off as like something spiritual or something biblical, but for real, that ain't what it is. That ain't what it is. It's on some like crazy, prideful, offensive type time. My guy Keegan, what's good, bro? Can you hear me? Like, is the mic good? Like, can you hear me? I would love to know. You know, sound, because I be talking and nothing be coming out right. Please let me know. And did you see that video of the first lady rebuking the girl? Okay. All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Bro, I had a whole track plan before I got on here. uh, and what else is funny though? Bro, I got a whole like I got a Amanda, hey prophetess. Hey prophetess. Bro, violating. Violating. Bro, one day when I get big on this, pause, you definitely gotta like stream with me. Real talk. Real talk. Amanda, you too. Amanda, you gonna stream with me too. I want to stream with everybody that I'm cool with and everybody who's like opinion I value. Like, like my goal with this is not even just to be on some like just talking to like famous people. Like I feel like that's just that's so that's so because these days anybody can be popular, but like people who be in your circle be mad, like intelligent, and people be like, no, I want to talk to that person because they got, you know, they got a name. No, I want to talk to like my people that I like actually care to hear from. Plus, sometimes they say don't sometimes they say don't meet the people that you look up to. I believe that in some cases because I've seen some dudes right on Facebook and all that, and I'd be like, bro, just play, just play keys, just play drum, just play guitar, just yeah, yeah, bro. It's definitely gonna be church, definitely church, bro, definitely church. So yeah, I don't think I was on here when I was saying it, but I'm calling these streams Musician Sabbath Mondays. So the whole play on words, again, it's not really about necessarily just musicians, but Mondays are like days where like, okay, it's after Sunday. You ain't really, depending on what church you go to, you ain't really thinking about songs for the next Sunday until like the next rehearsal. Or like unless you just listen to some songs, but you ain't really running to be like studying stuff. Like so yeah, yeah. So yeah, that video was crazy. It's so many layers to it. Like, so for those who don't know, so apparently the first lady was up on stage. I guess she was reading the scriptures or whatever before the praise team got up, and um, she had before she did that, she brought it to everybody's attention that one of the young ladies on the worship team, I guess, greeted her with a hug, but the hug wasn't necessarily what the first lady was usually getting from that person. So I guess first lady asked the young lady what was wrong. And I mean, understandably, I get it because when you're going through something behind the scenes, whatever, they ain't got nothing to do with ministry, you're not really trying to be like sidetracked with like outside stuff. Like you're trying to focus on what you're about to do. Like you're trying to focus on like ministry and singing these songs, playing these songs. Like you're not really trying to think about whatever's bothering you. So understandably, she, didn't want to talk to First Lady about it. And that must have really gotten to First Lady because First Lady decided, I'm going to mention this before I take time to read the scripture at church. I'm going to mention this lady in her situation or whatever she's going through. I'm going to mention it over the pulpit. So before she said the scripture, she pretty much was like, yo, I just wanted to, put it out there. The young lady pretty much again gave me a hug, but it wasn't what it usually is, and I just wanted to, set the house in order pretty much, and it was pretty much like an open rebuke. But again, that's one of them things where it's like you're trying to use spiritual stuff or a biblical context to address something with a fleshly motive. Like, you definitely could have waited to address her. And I feel like that situation was not a situation where you address that like in front of the whole congregation. Like, especially when you don't really know what was wrong with the girl in the first place. Like, that's not something that you talk about when you got a whole congregation full of people in the audience. I don't even know how many people was in the audience, but people who had nothing to do with whatever you're talking about, and you don't even know what was wrong with the girl in the first place. Like, bringing that up in front of everybody, like, is embarrassing. All because, I'm not gonna lie, it came off as very prideful and offensive. And those are two, I mean, any combination of unclean spirits is pretty much like not this, it's not it. But but pride and offense, bro. Pride and offense will have you in a conundrum of feelings. Like, pride and offense will have you thinking that something is there when it ain't there. Like, you'll think that something is being done to you and it's being done against you when it's just being done, like, you're just involved. Like, you're not necessarily like trying to, like, it's not something to like hurt you. Like, it's something that's supposed to help you. So my thought on that is I feel like people seem to forget. And I think one thing with the church, we don't have a lot of sympathy, man. Like, I feel like a lot of times, let me put this over there. I feel like a lot of times we forget that Jesus cared about humanity, bro. Like, Jesus cared about, like, he cared about people. Like, he wasn't placing himself, especially like as him lit like as like in flesh on earth, he was not putting himself above people as if he was just like, okay, I don't feel that because I don't know. Like, he literally lived on earth so he could understand, so he could understand what we go through, what we feel, how we think, what we think. Like, bruh. So I think we oftentimes people, also, I know I heard actually I saw a post by a homie a while ago saying how like people within the church are the only ones who discredit um who discredit like titles. And I think that can be true. And I feel like a part of it is because when it comes to titles and like high responsibilities in church, it almost seems like people like to pull rank. It's like if something's not going the way they want it to go, they're like quick to pull rank. They'll be quick to remind you, hey, as elder, da, 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 as pastor, da, da, it's like, bro, you don't have to do that. And again, I feel like that's all from offense because, you know, you want somebody to hear you and obey you, and they may not be receiving it or whatever you're saying the way you want them to receive it. So you go to the whole like, I'm going to respond as the pastor. I'm going to respond as the first lady. I'm going to respond as the head. Deep, like, bro, that ain't it. That ain't it. And I feel like that's borderline. That could be borderline interpreted as idolatry because again, you shouldn't be taking your title or taking your place in a ministry as grounds to like kind of exert your power when needed. Because like I said, for real, she did not have to address that girl or that situation in front of everybody. Like again, open rebuke, and think about it like this. I would think about it like this. Even in your open rebuke, right? Christ should be exemplified in that. It shouldn't lead to shame, embarrassment. It shouldn't cause somebody to, because I feel like this. If I'm her, if I didn't want to talk to you about that before, I'm definitely not going to talk to you about it now. Because you may get somewhere. Hold on. Because you may get somewhere and talk about me, and I'm thinking I'm confiding in you, and you talk about my situation to somebody else. You told me I could talk to you, but then you probably go and tell somebody else what I told you. Like, bro, again, church jargon, man. Especially we're in a time where people are more, I don't want to use the word woke, but people are definitely more woke than ever now when it comes to like how things were handled in the church generation before us. So this generation ain't falling for church jargon. And not only that, they're asking more questions now. They're wondering why can't I wear why can't I have tattoos? Why can't I pierce my ears? And they don't want to hear, well, that's because that's what I believe. Well, that's because that's just how I came up. Mm-mm. Because then it sounds like a preference. You're trying to make it some spiritual rule, and then when somebody asks you to explain why you see it as a spiritual rule or something biblical, you're kind of just like, that's just the way we came up in our church. Like, bro, this generation ain't with all that because I said so. Not when it comes to that. I want to get to what I'm really gonna talk about. So I want to get like more people on first. But that's how I feel. Like I feel like Jesus was he cared about, he addresses the fate of the innocent as well as the guilty. So, you know, we get these titles and we get these positions in church, and it's like we kind of lose a part of our humanity, which is bad because we already kind of have people that believe that the most untouchable person in a church is the pastor. We already kind of like had that like unspoken narrative that, you know, you can get to anybody you want in the church, but you got to jump through some hoops to get to the pastor. And I understand why you should be able to get to the pastor all the time, whenever you want at will. I get it, but it shouldn't be because of pride or some pull of rank. And again, I feel like in that video, it gave off the feeling of, offense. Like the first lady was offended by the fact that, first of all, the hug wasn't necessarily what she usually gets from that young lady, and number two, because the young lady didn't want to tell the pastor or the first lady what her issue was. So, in my opinion, the first lady felt the way because she felt shut out. She felt like, as a first lady, you should feel comfortable talking to me about anything. Not understanding the other side of it, where her mind, she may be trying to press through what she's going through so she can minister effectively. Because the last thing you want to do is minister heavy. You're singing, but you're kind of not able to give your all because you thinking about something that happened to you. You know, and that's something that, again, I feel like the first lady didn't think about. All she thought about was how that made her feel. She thought about how rejected she felt because, again, she didn't get the hug that she normally gets from this young lady. And then also because the young lady did not want to tell her what was her issue. And I think, again, I think we as Christians have to do better with seeing things from the other side. Because some people don't always want to talk about every single thing they go through. And I'm pretty sure her not wanting to talk to the first lady about it had nothing to do with her being the first lady. She about to minister. I don't know how anybody else is or how any other ministry is, but in the music ministry, people feel what's in you, Paul. They feel that when you're up there. They can feel when there's something that's bothering you. They can feel, through the sound, and sometimes even how you present yourself in the pulpit or wherever you are leading worship. People can see your heaviness. People can sense your heaviness. So I'm pretty sure that the young lady that was going through something was not trying to bleed out how she felt before she had to minister. That's kind of, again, especially because people don't really see it as this because of how popular, being in a music ministry is now. But the music ministry is we're on the front line. We are the front line. And I'm not trying to be messy. I'm not trying to slight nobody, but it ain't necessarily the board of elders. Like, it's not the deacon board and the chairman deacon. A lot of that stuff is like more geared towards sometimes covering the pastor, making sure the pastor is good, making sure that a service logistically is ran properly, and making sure stuff is in order. But as far as the spirit of the church, as far as again, regarding how the atmosphere is, how the atmosphere is, regarding service, before service, during service, a lot of that stuff is on the music ministry. It's on the music ministry. So again, you want this young lady to tell you her issue while she's possibly and probably trying to lock in to do her assignment as a member of the praise team, and you want her to like kind of dump her feelings on you. Because maybe the time where she said she didn't want to talk about it, maybe that was the time where she just wasn't ready. And again, like I keep saying, you cannot take offense. And I feel like time passed, and she was what she said in that video before she did the scripture, that was premeditated. It had to be. It had to be, because that thing probably stung her. She don't want to tell me about it. Why not? As her pastor, as her first lady, she should feel comfortable, telling me stuff. Again, and I think that's one thing, and that, again, pastors, y'all got it. Pastors, y'all got it, because a part of being a pastor is knowing the culture of your ministry, knowing the culture you lead. And sometimes, depending on the size of the church, sometimes it's also knowing how to handle people, because everybody's different. Everybody's personalities is different, which is also why you have different auxiliaries, different ministries in churches. And the pastor, he can't lead every auxiliary. He can't, he can't, he can't, he can't, he can't govern every ministry that's out there. That's why there are people, even the leaders of those particular ministries, like you have to know everybody's personality. Everybody don't necessarily handle things the same way. Some people don't have an issue telling you their issue before they minister. I'm gonna bit my tongue. Some people don't have an issue, you know, letting you know how they feel without losing, their joy, or without, losing their hunger for ministry, and losing their capabilities to minister effectively. And I think, again, oftentimes, I think this was a lapse in judgment, because this could have been handled after church. You could have called the young lady after church and said, "Hey, I just wanted to check on you. I know the last time we spoke, you didn't want to talk about it, but I just want you to know that if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. If you need somebody to, you know, if you need, a shoulder to cry on, if you want to tell me, what's been going on with you, I'm here." But instead, like I said, she was in her flesh. She was offended. Her pride was awakened, and she just felt like she just had to address that situation in front of the congregation. That whole thing didn't even cause for a public rebuke. Because a rebuke to me is when there's been an offense. So what that tells me is you felt offended, again, because the young lady did not tell you what was wrong with her. You come on. Again, everybody's different. Some people can't do that. Some people can't do the whole "I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I'm gonna tell you why I'm pissed, and I'm gonna still go out and do praise and worship like nothing happened." Everybody not like that. Everybody's everybody's not good at ministering with that kind of weight on their shoulders. They'll just put it in the back of their mind on a back burner for later, and they'll deal with it later. Hold on. Everybody can't do that. And that's why, again, even if she didn't tell you what was going on, again, something in your spirit should have been telling you, "Hey, I should probably, wait it out. She don't want to talk about it. That's fine. But I know something's up. So I'll let her. She got something that she got to do. But I will definitely, check on her later and make sure she's good." That would have been great. But instead, you know, you put the young lady in that embarrassing situation where it's like, and then you gave her the ultimatum to either keep singing and try to put the "forgot" on there, as if, like, you know, it was almost like a tactic to make her feel bad if she did walk off the stage. Again, that's manipulation. I'm not gonna hold you. That's manipulation. Or you can, she said, or you can, you can stay up here and sing for God. Come on now. And I'm glad she walked off, because it's like you're kind of adding to my issue now, because now, like, I'm not gonna be able to focus. I'm not gonna be able to sing to my God with all of my strength and all of my might, because I'm thinking about the fact that you just took the time out before you had to do your thing. You took the time out to literally check me about pretty much how you felt about something that had really nothing to do with you, But because you were offended by what I did, you made this about how I made you feel. Which is a great segue into what I'm going to talk about tonight. When I saw the video, I kind of answered my own question, but my question when I first saw the video was, okay, what's your point? What's your motive? Why? Why did you really feel the need to go? Now, you were supposed to go up there to read the scripture. That's all. People, church folk get mad, right? And again, she's the first lady, so I guess she can do whatever she wants. But church folk complain a lot about how, you know, and please, if you don't go to church, you don't understand this, you might not. Just bear with me. People complain all the time about people who are on the program to do something and they never end up doing it, or they do what they have to do, but there has to be something they did that they do before that. That's that kind of thing. Like, you could have kept that personal feeling and that personal slight, or that personal feeling of slight. You could have kept that to yourself. Instead, the service is starting out weird because you wanted to address pretty much how offended you were. Just read the scripture. And I know she's the first lady, it's her church. I get it. But I think the rules should apply to everyone. You want to also be wise about church atmospheres are sensitive. You can't come into a service on any type time. Like, you cannot just be just like wanting to just say anything because you got the microphone and you're the first lady, you have a title, and you can just no, like that's not it. That ain't it. That ain't it. So again, it brings me to the actual topic of this stream, motives. And as you can see, your motives can either put you in some mess or get you out of it. It can cause you to strive in whatever you're trying to do, build, learn from, or it can cause you to regress. It can cause you to regret, and it can cause you to retreat. Case in point. Because you know what I guarantee? I guarantee you that when that first lady did that, the wheels were spinning in the minds of all the worship team members that was behind her. I guarantee you they all had their wheels spinning. Because if you're going to do that to that young lady, what would make them think that she wouldn't do the same to them? Seriously. Because like I said before, if you did that to me because I didn't tell you what my issue was, I'm definitely not going to tell you what my issue is now. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I do not trust that I can say something to you and you'll accept me for what I am. You'll understand, and it won't be no issue, or you won't feel the need to address your feeling to me in a place that's not involving me being around or me being a part of the conversation. For real. I'm sorry, that juice is so good. So what I say about that, so motives have the ability to really bring a test to whatever you're trying to do. I feel like when you have a motive for something, there's a test that comes along to really to see if you're really about what you're trying to be about. Like this, like even like with me streaming, it's an example, right? There's a part of me that is fearful, right? Because again, like this, I don't have anybody watching right now. The part of me who is fearful is like, are you sure you want to do this? You ain't got nobody on now. You talking to yourself. It's just you. Literally, the number besides the I where it says live, it's 0. So the fearful part of me will be like, you probably shouldn't have did this. Look at that. Ain't nobody on here. You talking to yourself. What you got a mic for? What you got your laptop hooked up for? There's no reason for you to even be on here. What you got an Eagles jersey on for? You home. You could have just wore a t-shirt. But because my motivation to do this is behind a call that I have on my life, or because of a vision that I have to do this, I don't allow stuff like fear, unbelief, doubt. I don't let that disrupt my motivation. My motive is to really make community a thing. Is to disrupt the is to disrupt the is to disrupt the misnomer or the reputation that community isn't really needed. And because I really care about that, and because I really have a burden for that, I don't let just any old thing determine if I'm going to keep doing this or not. Now, if my only motivation was money, then I would just be stuck in the thought process of, well, dang, I don't really have no followers like that. I don't really have nobody on here. Uh, or if my only motivation was attention, my thoughts were all my the thought of that would be, dang, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Ain't nobody on here. It's just me. Your motive got to be right. A lot of times people don't finish what they start. It's sometimes because their motivation is in the wrong places. That's why when you build stuff, especially from the ground up, you got to make sure that your mentality, your motive is in the right place. Because if you're only doing something to be seen, to be famous, to be popular, to just rub elbows with a celebrity, it probably won't take much for you to really stop or quit. Seriously, it probably won't even take you long to, you know, it probably won't take you. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. My bad. It probably won't take you long before you're like, okay, I'm done with this. All because your motive from the beginning was just attention, notoriety. You want to be seen. So when you feel like nobody sees you, you start doubting why you even doing it in the first place. Your your motives have to be strong enough to push you. Again, especially when you're building something, it's not it happens, but it's not a thing where like, okay, I became famous or notarized at a real fast pace. That's not everybody's story. So when you're building something, you should kind of always have it in your mind, okay, if this doesn't take off the way I want to for the first 3 months or first 6 months, it's okay. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna keep doing it because Me being seen isn't what I'm in it for. I'm not here just so people can see me and recognize me in the streets and be wanting to take pictures with me. Like, all that is cool, but my motivation is bigger than me. My motivation is bigger than what I'm doing. It's more than just what it's okay. I'm trying to say it the way I hear it. It's has way more to do than what I'm doing can do for me. Because again, people don't finish what they start sometimes because their motive ain't in the right place. Money money was your only motivation. So when the money didn't come like you thought it would, you stopped. You quit. It's almost like this, and I'll give an example because I know somebody may be watching this, they may watch it later. I'll say it like this. Um, when the pandemic hit, right? There were celebrities left and right, or maybe not left and right, but um, there were definitely celebrities who were doing a lot of YouTube, like they were doing streams and not streams, but podcasts. They were doing podcasts and they were doing a lot of YouTube and they were getting on frequently, right? Now, they got a lot of views. I'm pretty sure YouTube cut them a check because they were getting views like it was nothing because again, people know who they are. They're famous. They're known for being on famous TV shows. So that wasn't that them getting an audience wasn't a problem at all. Cool. But once that pandemic lifted and once the restrictions lifted, those same celebrities who were doing those podcasts on YouTube and all that stuff, they stopped because their motivation really wasn't to be in podcasting. Their motivation was to do something and have something to do while they were stuck in the house. And because they were really actors, they were waiting for the pandemic and the shutdown to be lifted, and they were waiting until they can get back to work. So when the time came for them to get back to work, podcast who? Even more specifically, because one person comes to mind when I think about this. I can't, I don't know, I can't pronounce his last name, but he played Jim on The Office. He had a podcast, and ironically, a lot of his guests, most of the time, were people who were on The Office. So he was like doing like little mini The Office reunions. He was doing the podcasting thing and doing the stuff on YouTube for a while, posting videos of him interviewing people from The Office and other friends of his who were actors. But like I said before, once those restrictions from the pandemic lifted, he was he probably hadn't done that in years since the pandemic lifted because that wasn't his motive was not to get into podcasting. His motive was to find something to do while being stuck in the house. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just an example of motives. If your motive is only money, and also like this, motives will also test you in what you have and what you're willing to do for something that you don't have. So if all you care about is money, you will take the best offer, even if the fine print is sketchy. Your motivation is the money, so all you care about is just the money. You just want money. You don't care if the deal is bad. You ain't really going to read whatever the contract says. You just in it for the money. Even if the contract long term is a detriment to whatever you're doing, you're just about the money. So, for real, that's kind of, again, motivation. You have to make sure that your motivation can carry you. because you can be making money doing something that you hate doing. You can be making money and be miserable. You can be doing something that you love to do and be miserable. I'm telling you, I've done it. I've done it. Your motive have to make sense enough to where even on your low day, you don't stop pursuing. So even if my total views on this live is 50, I had like over, I think I have almost like 700 views on my last live. If I happen to have only 7 views on this one by the time I get off, that's just what it is. Because again, my motive isn't being seen. So um, me only having 7 views isn't necessarily. It's not gonna break me. It's not gonna make me feel like I made a mistake. Your motive has to be strong. Seriously. Just like again, we're creating something because I've seen and heard, red statuses on Facebook and all that of people, you know, pretty much stopping ministry or they want to stop businesses or stop doing something because they're not getting the exposure that they should be getting or they feel like they're not accepted in certain circles. When you have an assignment on your life, and I don't mean to sound churchy, but when you have an assignment on your life, you can't have people on such a pedestal in your mind that all it takes is for you to feel alienated. No, no, no. Because if all it takes is for people to make you feel alienated, then I would question what your motive was. Do you actually care about what you're doing? Do you care about the people who are actually affected by what you're building or who would be affected by what you're building? Because again, your motive, it comes with the test. It's almost like when you pray, right? You'll say a prayer in the morning and you'll be like, Lord, now these people get on my nerves at this job that I go to. I'm just asking that you help me to calm my nerves, help me so that I don't get annoyed so easily. And the first thing that happens when you get to work is something that annoys you. That's how it is with motivation. What motivates you will test you. If you're in it to help people, sometimes you'll get tested by people who, you know, how can I say this? You'll be tested by people's acceptance of you. Sometimes, you'll have a burden to be a help to a certain community of people, and your test and your motivation may be you just things happening and making you feel like, okay, so am I really needed for this, or because it don't seem like it. Because sometimes, and this is kind of a bar, but sometimes your press, or I say this like this, sometimes the test and for your motivation is really a test of your press. Sometimes your motivations are tested to see, okay, let's see if this happens, will they stick it out? Pause. Let's see what happens when this comes along. You want to work on your discipline. Let's see what happens when this female walks across you, and you trying to abstain from certain things, and you know, keep your mind right. You not trying to focus on the wrong thing, and all of a sudden, every time you turn around, it's some joint in your face. Your motive is to avoid certain things in people because you have a goal, but then something always comes along to try to test that motive. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm just gonna be transparent. There was a time in my life in early to mid 20s, okay? I did not care for the homosexuals in church because it always felt like whenever I would get close or cool with a person who liked the same sex, a male, it just seemed like they were always like the motive was always to try to get at me or to see what they can get from me or to see if I was down. So for a minute, I didn't want to be cool with no homosexuals in church because in my mind, most of them was always trying to get something from me. Or they were trying to see how far I would go, especially because during that time in my life, I was very quiet. Like, I would go to the church concerts. I would sit down, enjoy the concert, mind my business. I really wasn't talking to everybody. So it was almost like I was kind of like fresh meat. Pause. I was like the person there. I was just kind of, okay, who's that? Who's that? And because I'm quiet, it kind of brought a mystique. But it seemed like whenever I got cool with a homosexual person from church, it was always on some like the motive was just always crazy. And then I realized that whenever I didn't give them the attention that they was trying to get from me, the motive kind of showed because the communication wasn't the same, the stuff we talked about wasn't the same, how we communicated wasn't the same. That's just, again, motives. And again, a motive, you have to also have discernment too, because a lot of times people aren't always going to show you all their cards. You gotta have discernment. Naim, cousin, that joint was annoying. And I was new, like I said before in my last live. My childhood church, there wasn't a lot of like we were not the concert church. We were not in concert culture. So some churches in some areas are like concert staples. So like for Memorial, you knew what you was gonna get. Some churches in the DMV areas, you knew they were historically known for having some banging live recordings. Certain choirs were always there singing in a concert. Like it could be the same three choirs always singing at the same concert, but you knew the band was going to smack, the choir was going to smack, and we was going to have church. That wasn't my childhood as a church kid. I'm not complaining, but this is just to say, like, I just wasn't, I was seen as a new kid. I was seen as a new kid, so the dudes was on me. That's why I thank God for my cousins, Naim and Hakeem, because They was the one of the ones that was like, not that one. Nope. No, he don't like that. No, that's not his thing. He ain't with that. Nope. Nope, that's not his. Nope, no, no. Okay, no. So yes, again, motives. It plays a big part. And I think it's dangerous for people who call themselves builders and your motive is in the wrong place. Because when you're a builder and people have a need and they see that need being fulfilled through what you're building, it's almost like a waste of time to have to be like forget it all because your motive is in the wrong place. It's just weird, you know. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, and I promise I'm not being shady. I promise. And nine, you probably gonna laugh, but I find it weird when people have these grand openings of churches like 3 and 4 times. You didn't change the name 3 and 4 times. Ain't nothing consistent. You didn't change. You pretty much try to relocate and do the same thing. like we have to check motives. We got to check motives because it can't be just a financial thing. What are you trying to get out of starting that ministry? What are you trying to get out of traveling to preach, traveling to play? Because a lot of times the issue is, and I'm sorry, I have a little bit of church brain, so excuse me. But a lot of times people be wanting these titles and they be wanting these ministries because there's a look that comes with it. Because there's a seating preference that comes with it. You know what I mean? Like people do stuff because, and the funny thing is, I don't know why a lot of these preachers be like y'all be excited to wear these robes and stuff, but the real preachers that I know, the ones that are real about it, they will tell me they don't even like wearing that stuff. They only wear it because the ordination they go to, that's their thing. They don't want they want the clergy to dress up in their clergy attire. Other than that, they not wearing no robes. And it be preachers out here because their motive is about something that it shouldn't be about. They'd be excited going to Renzetti's for Renzetti. Let me not be black like that. Renzetti. They be hyped. They be hyped to wear that stuff on their head. They be hyped to shout in them robes. They be, and I'm not trying to be shady again, but they be so hyped to get their robes bedazzled and get designs on them. They be so happy. I'm like, y'all be too happy. I gotta question your motives now. What you really doing this for? Like what you really doing this for? Who you? It's like all this because you want to sit in the front seat. Like all this because like all this because you want somebody to recognize who you are, and you want somebody to call your name when they do the the part of the service when they be like, all the pastors please stand, we want to thank God for pastor so and so. Like you want to be caught up like that bad? You want Bishop so and so to tell you to come up to the front when you thinking like you want to sit in the back, knowing good and well you don't want to sit in nobody's back. You want to sit in the front, but it's kind of the humble thing. You know, it looks like it's humility to not assume that you're going to be set up front. So let me just sit in the back so it don't really look like I want to be up there. Or let me I'm saying this too because people do this too, and I do this too when it comes to like birthday parties because I can be my flesh too a little bit, but you'll come to the service late on purpose. Yeah. You'll come to the service late on purpose because you know when people see that door open, they want to know who coming in next. They want to know who just walked through the door, so everybody can see your long raincoat and your big hat. Cousin, it be like that. It be really like that. And then the thing is, when it don't happen for you, or when you aren't in certain circles, or when you aren't invited into that reformation, then it's like y'all whack anyway. Y'all think y'all so da da da. Well, again, that motive, that motive, you care too much. You really get me stirred, cousin. You thinking too much about being in a circle, especially when these days we finding out that these circles ain't nothing but a bunch of how, how do I say it? These circles are filled with nothing but a bunch of S offenders and people who use their rank to pretty much abuse people. Hopefully I don't get banned. But you know what I mean. But you want to be accepted by people so bad. I've seen people go on live. I've seen people go on live and be on there for hours, and you might have about 50 people or 100 people on your live watching you talk, but people coming for the mess, not because of who you are. You talking mess. You talking mess. You anybody coming here because they want to sew into you. Because the funny thing is, you'll go live for an hour talking about some mess, and don't nobody on that live asking you what you need. Ain't nobody asking you, you know, hey, how can I sew into you? If anything, they push you to say more. But again, even in that moment, your motive was to be seen. So the child in you is not being seen. So it's like, okay, let me act out a little bit. Let me act out. I wasn't seen by them. Oh, but if I get on live and say this, everybody gonna see me. Not even knowing that you so busy trying to be seen that you don't even realize that that title that you're after, that power that you're after, that seat you're after, also comes with a responsibility. It comes with accountability. It comes with having to understand that when something happens to you, getting on Facebook Live cannot be the first thing you think to do. Retaliating because of what somebody did to you, when you're in that position or seat, the accountability is understanding, okay, let me just write this in, let me write how I feel in my notes. Let me call my best friend and so I can get it all out. Because I want to cuss. I want to cuss, and I know that the seat that I say I'm graceful or called to, I can't get on live and publicly call myself out on people. Because not even with that, what's your motive for outing somebody? Okay, so let's say that what you're saying about that person is true. Then what? Okay, so they're sat down. Then what? Okay, so their church is shut down. Now what? Again, motives. Everything comes with a motive. And hopefully, you're not just aimlessly doing stuff. We don't do vagabonds. We don't do the vagabond spirit. You just aimlessly doing stuff. Nothing you're doing has purpose. You're just doing it because it's just what you just out here lost. Motive. Motives are important. Motives will definitely it will definitely determine if something that you do is going to last. It's going to determine how long whatever you're doing lasts. I think my son is coming. But yeah, like if trust me, your motives say a lot about you. Why are you walking like that? Come here. Say hi. 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 Papa. Hi. Hi. Hmm? Who's Maddie? I don't know who Maddie is. Can you go to mommy, please? But yeah, like that that motive, man. How you react to things is always going to be something that's leaked out through your motive, or your motive will always be exposed through what you react to, how you respond to things, and that's just being. And I ain't gonna hold you. Like I had notes, and I kind of said them. Okay, and I pretty much said it all in passing. But yeah, like that's a major part of it. Your motive is a part of what shapes your journey. A lot of times, your motive, again, I keep saying this, your motive determines how long you stick to whatever you're doing. Again, because I'll keep saying it. If all it takes is for you to be alienated, if all it takes is for you to not make money the way you think it's going to be made, how quick you think it's going to come, whatever you're doing is not going to last. And that's an important thing. That's an important thing. Your motives. When's the last time you asked yourself, why am I doing this? What do I want to get out of this? I feel like, especially for you people that are builders, I think the one thing you should ask yourself, first of all, I think you should write it down, because God talked to me, and a lot of times, what He tells me, I'll call them ideas. So I write these ideas down, and when I write them down, I make sure that there's a point to what I'm writing down. I'm making sure that while I do have things that I want to get out of the ideas that I have, I want to make sure that, the good segue, I want to make sure that I can handle the responsibility of knowing that whatever I'm trying to build is bigger than me. That whatever I'm building or intending to build, I'm not just doing this so I can be seen, so I can be rich, so somebody could recognize me in the street, so somebody can tell me how good I am. No, this is for the people who are going through what I'm going through, but they're not necessarily ready to put themselves out there as somebody who knows what it's like to go through what they're going through. I think I said that. But yeah, the people after you have to make sure that your motive comes with the fact or the responsibility that this is not just for me. This is for the people who are just like me, who need something to look to, who need something to be proof that, okay, it's not just me. Okay, so I'm not the only one that goes through this. Okay, so it's not just me that has these ideas. It's not just me who has these days where, you know what, I'm sick of this. Why am I even doing this? Just like this. Somebody may see this and be like, you know what, I was kind of skeptical about streaming because I just feel like if I get on here and I see 0 people watching me, I'm gonna be like, bro, I'm done. But they gonna need to see somebody like me or like anybody else that's like me. Oh, okay. So he's on here talking like he's talking to a room full of people. And he's still talking. He's been talking on here for almost an hour and 25 minutes. And he had more than 10 folk on here listening all together at the same time. Because some people, again, people can have a positive motive for something, but there's always that small part that's gonna say, well, you don't have this. Or again, they'll try to, there's a small part of you that makes what you do have seem minuscule or minuscule. What you got this microphone for? Ain't nobody even on here. What you got a laptop next to you for? What you need that for? What you write notes for? Seriously. 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 There's always that part of you that's going to make you feel like you need to be skeptical. And that's why I say your motive has to be stronger than that part of you that almost makes you feel like whatever you're doing has no point. For real. Because when I think about even me doing this, I'm not thinking about just me. Even the fact that I'm addressing community lets you know that me doing this, I'm not making this a branding thing. Yes, I'm going to talk about my experiences. I'm going to share commentary about how I feel about something. But at the same time, I'm thinking about, okay, who needs to hear my perspective? Who needs to hear my story? Who needs to hear or see, again, hey, I want to do this, but I don't really feel comfortable, or I don't really see the point in getting on live talking to nobody. But now I see somebody doing it and they just as comfortable. They're talking, with confidence. Their head is held up, and he talking as if, again, as if 20,000 people are on here talking back. Hold on, y'all. For real. Because trust me, especially when you're a person that you like to be prepared, your motives are good, and you're prepared, there's going to be that small part of you that's going to try to make you feel dumb for being prepared. Your motive's going to be tested in that way too. Again, like I keep using this as an example, why you got a mixer? Why you got a microphone plugged in? Small footnote. I want to shout out to my boy Jonathan Weidman. He gave me this mic. Years ago, I told him I wanted to do like podcasting, and this is before streaming became a thing. But I said I want to do some podcasting, and I need a microphone. He said, "Oh, word! I happen to have an old one that I don't even use." He gave this to me, and this was sitting for a few years. But I told the Lord that once we moved out of this apartment that me and my wife were in previously, I said I'm gonna use this because there's no I can't do this in the apartment because it's just we don't have the space and it just no, it ain't gonna work. But again, like I said, especially when you're prepared, there's gonna be that part of you that makes you feel dumb for being so prepared and so determined and being so motivated in the right way. Just stop. Again, why do you have this? Why do you have all this stuff, plugged in? The microphone, the mixer, the laptop. You got your phone propped up like you really about to be talking to people. Like stuff like that will test your motive. Only having a couple people on is going to be a motive tester. Fear will be a motive tester. Greed will be a motive tester. For real. And again, when somebody's motives are in the right place, you are going to find out. You're going to find out what your motive is. You're going to figure out what your end all be all is. Seriously. Because fear will make you feel like having a plan is like pointless, especially in the beginning. There's going to be that small part of you that makes you feel like you did this for no reason. There's going to be a small part of you that's going to try to scare you out of doing what you feel led to do. You can't let fear win. You can't let intimidation win. You can't let where you start win. Because like I said before, it happens very rarely where somebody just pops off day one. Everybody's not going to be LeBron James. Everybody's not LeBron James. Everybody's not going to have a growth spurt at the end of high school. Yes, cousin. Yes. I've learned to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to be nervous every time I got to do this. But let me change that. It's not because I feel like I have to. I want to do this. And because of where my motives are, I don't feel confined to this. This is not confinement. This is not something that I feel like, oh, okay, it's time to do it again. Nah. Because I know that what I'm doing is bigger than me. Thank you. Thank you, cousin. It's trust me, when you know something is bigger than you, it's gonna take way more than it's gonna take more than rejection to make you like quit. And when I tell you, and this is why I'm gonna have my cousin on here too, because when I tell y'all, my cousin used to have to really like talk some sense into me because I was really big on wanting to be accepted. What up, Darius? What up, Brody? And it be times where like I'm on the phone with him, like crying because I'm just like, why are they doing this to me? Why? And he'd be like, listen, What up, bro? He would have to tell me, like, listen, first of all, whatever they saying about you, don't let nobody tell you something about you that you don't already know about yourself. Now, at this time when I'm telling me that, I was very short. I'm not tall anyway, still, really, but I was very short in middle school. And I was letting people tell me about how short I was as if like me being short was new to me. But I was hanging around them with the motive of wanting to be cool with them because I thought they were the cool kids. And because my motive was to be cool with them and be seen as cool, I stuck around. This was seventh grade, okay? Remember the story I told last time about like being kind of like mad? I was upset because my homies were all going to a whole different middle school. I thought I had some homies when I went to middle school, but nah. And my motives were being tested. Okay, so how much are you willing to take of this? They teasing you. They talking about your clothes. They talking about your height. They think you a punk because you don't really say nothing. But at some point, I had to be like, okay, I'm I don't want to say I'm going to be honest. I did not think I was him in middle school, but I had to slowly but surely like build myself up to be like, okay, you know what? Okay, I'm short. Okay, so I'm short. Okay, yes, like, and they thought because I was quiet that I was a punk. You might make me tell a story from middle school, and I don't think this person is friends with me on here, so I'm gonna just say it. Okay, so I was in this crew. I was in this crew that I thought I was cool with these people, but they were teasing me almost every day. Again, I wasn't the best dressed. I was wearing clothes that was bigger than what my size really was, but that was a kind of that was a time where baggy jeans were a thing, but my clothes was too baggy. I ain't gonna hold you. My clothes was too. I was overdoing it. Okay, talking about Allen Iverson to the 10th power, but my clothes did not fit me for real. So we're in, I think, computer class. We're in the library for class that day, and I mean they're going in on me, right? And I'm chilling. Now I had my cousin in my mind, pretty much like, yo, like if they say something about you, like say something back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, don't just sit there, like say something. So I'm chilling, I'm just sitting there. I'm not staring in the space, but I'm kind of just like I'm kind of in my mind, like, okay, like, you know. Now this girl, she she was dark skinned, long hair. Her hair was nice. I ain't gonna hold you. Her hair was nice. She was a basketball player, and she was a tomboy. She was, I don't want to say the word, but she was a lesbian, okay? And the first thing that came to my mind when she said whatever she said to me next, I was like, look at you over there looking like a monkey. Now, this is how I knew I won, okay? This is like an unspoken rule when you fire somebody up. You know what you said was funny when the person that you're ranking on, when their friends laugh at you, or their friends are laughing at what you're saying. You know you're winning, or you won, and that's all I had to really say. But even her friends looking at her and me like, because for real, as many times they mess with me, I really never say anything. Like I would kind of laugh it off, knowing good and well I felt the way about what they were saying. But for the most part, I wouldn't say anything. But that one day, that shocked. the living daylights out of them. And it's funny because, again, my motive was to get her to stop messing with me. I didn't care. I really didn't care much about her respecting me. But my thing was like, you need to get off my back because I don't bother you. I be chilling. But that day, but that day, she was in for a rude awakening because I said something back and she was not ready. And this is how you know too. And this is why even when you ranking on something, you call it ranking back then. When you fire somebody up, you got to also know how to dish what you can take. Because that one monkey line, she wanted to fight. And I was like, hi. That one monkey line, she wanted to fight. So it's almost like now in my mind think about it, I'm like, now you was coming at my head like crazy. And mind you, I mean the stuff you were saying was true, but what I said was true too. But you couldn't take that. Baby, stop. Right, stop. You better go to your mother. Say hi. Yeah, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Cause for real, I don't want. Now you about to get me started. Because for real, ain't nothing. Depending on who it is, ain't nothing like telling somebody who's not really attractive that they're not attractive. And that's just being honest. Now she could have taken the same advice that I had to be given, that had to have been given to me from Naeem, telling me, you ain't gotta let nobody tell you nothing that you don't know about yourself. Okay, you short. Okay. If you the shortest person in the school, then you're gonna have to be the most confident shortest person in that school. That's just, I mean, it is what it is. You short. Okay. But she couldn't take what I was saying. And like I said, I only said one thing. And I think from that day on, she respected me a little bit more. Because let me tell you, when I said that, from that point on, them jokes was not at a clip. And guess what? I still wore the same kind of clothes I wore when I went to school during that time. But them jokes was not ripping off like they used to. So, again, motives. Motives. Man, that was fun. Old middle school, man. I learned a lot those 2 years. But yeah, motives. Let me see what else I got, because I had like 3 main points. I feel like I said all of them. And I'll say this too. Again, when it comes to building stuff too, do not let what's assigned to you to be diluted by what you think others want. Like, just because that's their preference, that doesn't mean that what you have to offer isn't needed. Your motives should not always, and sometimes aren't meant to be coincided with somebody else's. Especially when we're in a time where, and it's not even in a time, because I feel like it's been going on forever. Especially when especially now, we're in a day where a lot of things can mean the same thing, but they're said in different ways. But even if this is a different thing, don't allow what's said over here to change your motive. Because like I said, when you're building something, it's gonna at first seem like whatever you're talking about, whatever you're trying to do, it's going to look like it's not needed. It's going to look like it doesn't matter. Like at my job, when something new comes in, when it's brand new, I'm not talking about, something, not something seasonal, because again, depending on the season, that whatever's going to come in is going to come in. But when it comes to like a brand new year-round flavor or whatever, and it's brand new, it's gonna, for the maybe first couple of weeks or month or so, it's gonna seem like there's no need for it because nobody knows about it. But if your motive is just to be popular without even seeing it through, you're gonna assume that what's being put out there isn't worth it. I done did this. I done put this out there, and people still going for that over there. You, what's your motive? Is your motive to just be seen as everybody else sees whatever's being seen, or are you trying to do something that lasts even after you're done with it? Again, that goes hand in hand. There's a community that has or that needs what you have. There's a community that is looking for the idea that may be just in your head or something that's just in your notes, waiting for you to take the next step on. That's why your motives have to be pure. Your motives got to be right. Your mindset has to be right. Because if you're not thinking about a community and it's just about you, you're going to see a slow start as a failure. You're going to see a delayed start as what you have not mattering. You're going to see what you have in your hands or what you have in your notes. You're going to see it as not worth it. Breathe. No. Stop. Wait, get in. Sorry. But yeah. Keep the motives right. Keep those motives right. Seriously. Because depending on what your motives are, it'll literally carry you through. Seriously. Depending on what your motive is, it will cause you to keep going, even if, again, what you have may seem like it's not worth it. There's nothing coming from it. Don't nobody see you. You got to keep going anyway. That's why I get it when people say stuff like, do it afraid. Do whatever that you feel like you have to do, even while you're skeptical. Even while it may look like everybody's back turned towards what you are doing. Even when it seems like, even when it seems like your friends are like, oh, okay. Oh, you doing that? Okay, that's what's up. Even when your friends seem disinterested, you still got to do it. Because let me tell you something. Your motive has to stay strong enough that when you tell your friends what you got going on, even if they don't respond with the same enthusiasm that you give the idea with, you still got to be like, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it because I realize And I'm doing this with the thought and the motive of this is going to be something that matters after me. There might be somebody who wants to go in this lane after seeing that I stuck with X, Y, and Z. That even when I ran into A, B, and C, I still persevered. I still made sure that what I have and the skill, the knowledge, the wisdom, the patience that I have is something to behold. It's something that's worth being studied, as people say. I hope people are like enjoying this, or will be enjoying this when this live goes out. I'm really finished. Um, of course, you know, Instagram, YouTube at b.drums. B as in boy, D as in David, O, T as in Tom, D as in David, R, U, M as in Mary, Z. Those are my Facebook, or no, those are my Instagram and YouTube handles. My Twitch, which I'm now, pause before I give you that. Now, Twitch is literally something I'm really building from the ground up. I don't really know how to work Twitch, but I'm doing it because I feel like that's a lane that really hasn't been embraced by the Christian community. So I'm doing Twitch and I'm learning as I go. For real, this might sound crazy, but I want to meet and learn about Twitch from Kai Cenat and Duke Dennis. For real. Like I want them to like teach me, like I want to be like cool with them and learn under them because they got that joint down pat. And it sounds crazy, but I want to learn from them. Like I want to meet them, learn from them, in all that. You know? So that'd be cool. But my Twitch handle is Musicians Mind One, like the number one. And like I said, I'm really starting that from the ground up. I want to be like, you don't have to be the first, but I want to be the person that really like break ground in like the religious, sacred, Christian faith, you know, community on Twitch. Because like I said, everybody don't do Twitch. I'm actually about to start. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing stuff on Twitch. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna just say that. I wanna do all that. Like I wanna do it all. That's why I say your motive's gotta be right because I don't want to be a one-stop shop just to be seen. Now I want to explore everything that I can. I want to get all I can in and learn everything I can. So yes, again, of course, Brandon Cunningham for, of course, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. B as in boy, D O T as in Tom, D as in David, R U, M as in Mary, Z as in zebra for YouTube and Instagram. Yes. And for real, I'm probably gonna change my usernames. I don't like it on Twitch. I'm gonna probably change it to something like He's Just Churchy, HES as in Sam, JUS as in Sam, T as in Tom, CHUR. I messed that all up. Wait. He's Just Churchy. HES as in Sam, J-U, S is in Sam, T is in Tom, Churchy. He's just churchy. I'm gonna change that within like the next week. Because I don't really like musicians' mind, so yeah. But yeah, this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. I got more stuff. I got stuff. I got more stuff. Next week we're gonna talk about um letting things go. We'll talk about that next time. It's called, I named it Deal With It. So we're gonna talk about that next Monday. I can't wait. You know, again, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, just being transparent. I'm probably gonna compare the live views of this one to last week's or the week before. I'm probably gonna do that. But again, because my motive is in the right place, it's not gonna stop me from doing what I'm doing now. But I will be comparing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna front. I can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have guests. I'm gonna talk to people. I'm gonna talk to worship leaders, praise teams. I'm gonna talk to, non-church people. Like I'm trying to do it all. I want to do it all with my integrity intact. I want to do it all with God's help. Seriously. I can't wait. I hope people support me. Again, because my motives aren't really tied into like who's gonna support. I'm gonna be cool, but it would mean a lot of people support me. I'm excited. I'm so excited. So I just know this is gonna be a fun ride. So again, thanks for all who are gonna look at this. Thanks for all who are gonna like, comment, subscribe, share. This is just the beginning. Of course, we're gonna clean some stuff up, we're gonna make it better. And thank you everybody for commenting on it while I'm on live, liking, and hope to see everybody next week. We're gonna deal with it. We're gonna talk about it. Have a nice night, y'all. Good night.